He had truly angered me now. I asked coldly, "Where's the kid?" But what answered me was Gunther casually throwing something. "Here's a souvenir." It landed right in front of me. Realizing it was an ear, I was gravely shocked. "I've dumped the rest in here. Try taking it if you can." I gritted my teeth, killing intent boiling within me. "You could have just said you wanted to die instead." Gunther's delight in my anger only made his smile more reckless. His arms blood tore and entangled, forming a new flesh arm inside his body. "Yeah, that's how it should be." His eyes were full of murderous intent. "Come at me, Simon." Meanwhile, on the other side, Lisa hurried to the location of Linza. "You think that child will kill Gunther?" Lisa quickly answered, "Yes." Linza showed a thoughtful smile. "Are you worried about Gunther then?" Lisa shook her head. "It's been a long time since I lost any attachment I had to him. It's just that, I just don't understand why you are so obsessed with this Simon." Linza did not respond directly, instead asking softly, "Lisa, have you noticed that no matter how hard you try, you can't clearly recall what Simon looks like?" Lisa paused and thought to herself, "His face. What? Why can't I recall his face?" Linza's gaze was distant, but her voice was calm. "This is the power of air, which causes one to forget his appearance." Lisa's expression shifted slightly, and she was puzzled. "Air? You mean the god of darkness?" Linza's mouth curled up. "Yes, it seems like my past has found me." This shocked Lisa. "Then aren't you in danger?" Linza immediately denied this. "It's been a while since we've had such a precious guest, so treat him accordingly, Lisa." Meanwhile, the battle at the junkyard had reached a fever pitch. Gunther, with his blood-congealed arm, launched another fierce assault. "What happened, Simon?" He then grabbed the ground and launched an attack on me, sending me flying several meters away. I landed heavily on the ground due to the impact. "Why aren't you using those moves from before?" Gunther bellowed, his murderous intent undiminished, his entire being like a frenzied demon. "Try harder, Simon of Remia. You're digging up all the human remains." I was a bit startled when I noticed the human skeletons. Gunther casually picked up the human skull. "Do you know why these things are here? It's because they were useless. This place is a junkyard." He crushed the skull on his hand and added, "Lambaster was full of trash. Lisa and I grew up amongst the garbage. We tried our hardest to survive in this hellish place. I bit down on anyone who tried to put a hand on us. Then I got to know a boy. One day, that boy eliminated the manager of the junkyard, the same person who used to harass us all the time. The boy said that he left Ruin Academy to look for some fun here and cleaned up all of the garbage in the junkyard. It's okay. I've scrapped all of the trash around here. You're safe now." I can't forget that angelic face of his. I decided to admire him. After that day, my life changed. I dreamed of the day I would scrap all of the garbage in Lambaster and slowly expand my forces and even become the manager of the junkyard. I started off in Lambaster cage to earn money. I ended up killing someone and was expelled, but I did not care. The person I killed was just garbage that I had to scrap anyway. That made Lisa cut contact with me, but I still did not care. I was already one with the junkyard itself. One day, I will scrap all of the garbage in the Lambaster. That's what I decided to do. I interrupted Gunther's storytelling. "Alright, that's enough nonsense. Can't you see that I'm perfectly fine? Try harder, Gunther." Gunther finally showed a satisfied expression. "I like that. I'll give everything I've got." As his blood surged, his sinewy arm became more horrifying, merging with chains and metals. "Then let me show you something more interesting." "Is that an artifact in his hand? Where did he get an ancient relic like that?" Gunther sneered. "This is called gravity chamber. It creates a room of mana out of the chosen location." As his words fell, the gravitational box was already flying towards me and multiplies the gravitational force by 20 times. Suddenly, I felt as if the air around me compressed, stalling my movements. Seeing me subdued by the gravity, Gunther rapidly closed the distance, swinging his bloodied hand. "Not bad holding up. Let's see if you can block this one too." In that moment, Kiram's voice quietly spoke up. "Do you need help?" I sternly refused. "It's just dealing with an arrogant mutt like this. Your power isn't needed." Besides, he was already on a path to his own demise. Next, I shot forward suddenly, the invisible cage of gravity proving trivial for me. Gunther wasn't able to dodge my attack. Gunther's eyes widened in disbelief. What just happened? It should be hard for him to even move. This is impossible. A punch flew, shattering his blood hand, sending Gunther flying. I swiftly moved at her back. "Ears, is it? I'll destroy everything on you other than your ears." In the next second, I strike him ferociously in the back with a kick, slamming him back down to the ground. Gunther crashed down hard, pierced by the debris of the dump, no longer capable of fighting. His eyes gradually dimmed, but oddly, there was a hint of relief. "Ha, a person like me was doomed from the start. My life has no regrets." As I contemplated whether to finish him off, he suddenly mentioned Lewis. "That kid, born in Lambaster, I'm sure she will end up as trash too, just like me and Lisa. It's the rule set by the city's ruler. Please, make sure she doesn't follow the same path. I believe you can do it." His words shocked me. With those words, Gunther breathed his last. Why did it have to be this way? Wasn't this box supposed to be? Then, I slowly opened the box. By then, Lisa had also arrived. "What happened here?" She saw Gunther's fallen body. "Gunther, I was worried that this would happen." Her expression remained cold, and she instructed her subordinates to ensure the VIP was safe. I called out to them, getting their attention. She moved closer to my location and then noticed the small figure in my arms. "Lewis, she's not hurt anywhere. It looks like she's just sleeping." I handed Lewis to Lisa. "Are you alright?" To which I answered, "I'm fine. Just take care of her." And then I turned to leave. "But where are are you going? Lisa asked curiously. To clean up. Lisa asked with confusion. Clean up? Where? Lambaster. As Gunther said. Indeed, some trash needed to be cleared. My response left Lisa puzzled, but my expression was resolute. Lambaster, this city that devours hope, must come to an end. There are 4 districts in Lambaster, with the Lambaster cage at its center. The junkyard stands in the west, the commercial district at the east, and the entertainment district at the south. There is no facility that handles the city's security. However, there was still a bit of a system in place to maintain the rules of Lambaster. Besides the fallen junkyard boss Gunther, the other 3 controllers of the entertainment, commercial, and cage areas are still active. In my past life, I struggled to justify launching a major war against the city. It had no standing army, yet every resident was fiercely combative. Back then, Ishel told me not to rush and asserted that the city would destroy itself. All we need to do is be there to take it over when the time comes. When I questioned him with doubt, how can you be so certain? He simply stated coldly, that city is already rotten. I have seen it myself. It still bothers me how certain he looked back then, but Ishel is right. This city is rotten to the core. I can no longer bear to wait for its self-destruction. Today, I'm going to dig up its roots. When I arrived at the entertainment zone controller Delkia's residence, she offered me tea with a familiar minty sweet aroma. Even though this is supposed to be a cup of black tea, it's like she wasn't even trying to hide that this tea is drugged. It's the scent of a very popular paralysis medicine in Giram. Thank you for responding to my invitation, Mr. Simon. I'm sure you'll enjoy tonight. Her voice was as cloyingly sweet and softly tender as the scent of the tea, deliberately gentle. I just smiled lightly in response. Yes, like this specially scented tea. Delkia's eyes suddenly flashed with suspicion, evidently wondering if I had noticed that she spiked the drink. But then I drank the tea in one gulp, which surprised her, my body involuntarily dropping the teacup on the ground and slumping to Delkia's shoulder. She was stunned at first, then couldn't help but reveal a triumphant grin. It worked. Now he's mine. Meanwhile, in the commercial district, the news of my capture by Delkia had already reached Morris. Fantastic. It seems God is indeed on my side. He laughed jubilantly, then his tone shifted. It's a shame I wasted that gravity chamber on Gunther. I worked so hard to get that from the Giram Association too. He bite onto the big piece of meat. Well, it's alright. The investment in Delkia has finally paid off. The demonic sword will soon be mine. Suddenly, a shadow slowly emerged from the wall. But sir, it's a bit suspicious how things are going smoothly. Morris, displeased, snapped. Don't jinx it. After a moment of silence, the shadow said, just to be safe, I'll scout ahead. Morris waved indifferently. Alright, don't do anything unnecessary. And once the shadow had completely disappeared, he let out a disdainful sneer, muttering, these foolish mercenaries, always blabbering. They should just do the job they're paid for. Could they be eyeing my demon blade too? Thinking this, he could no longer restrain himself and quickly boarded his carriage to rush toward the red light district. He pushed the door open, announcing his arrival. I am here, Delkia. How annoying. You're here early. You could have been slower. I was just beginning to have some fun. She drew out her words, her demeanor seductive yet playful. Morris, sweating profusely with urgency, exclaimed, no one's competing with you. I just need the item he had. I already took that off of him. Morris couldn't contain his excitement. That's all I wanted. Give it to me. Hurry. Delkia's movements remained graceful, her tone full of mockery. You really are in a rush, aren't you? I promise you're in for a big surprise. As the curtain rose, another Delkia, bound alongside her harem of male pets, appeared on the stage. Morris's face drained of color. This is what you've been hiding behind the curtains. You have stuffed humans. Although he had heard of Delkia's macabre tastes, he hadn't expected the reality to be quite so literal. Yet, he didn't really care about that, but then he noticed another person in the middle. That's Delkia, and retorted, then you. Who exactly are you? The Delkia before him smiled. Don't be so rude. Then she slowly swept her hands, and in the next moment, Kiram's figure appeared. Who could I be? Of course, I'm the very demon blade you've been obsessing over. Morris was taken aback. The legendary artifact turned out to be a woman. At that moment, I also stood up solemnly, my voice cold. You know too much. Morris bellowed. Shadow Assassin Squad. Save me. You're so damn loud. I acted swiftly to silence him. Since you're so keen to see those guys that badly, I'll send you to meet them. Creation, space, fog swamp. Morris slowly notices his shadow is turning into fog. This made him gravely shocked and exclaimed, his lungs out. The fog sank like a marsh. It was you who gave Gunther the gravity chamber and Delkia the paralyzing potion, wasn't it? Faced with my accusation, Morris no longer had the courage to deny. I'm sorry. I will never do something like that again. You're right, and I'll make sure you won't be able to do anything like that ever again. Goodbye. Domain collapse. Morris's figure slowly sank into the swamp, the suffocating sensation dragging him deeper. And in the depths of the swamp, he notices something. The shadow assassins he had heavily hired were completely annihilated. After the matter was concluded, only Delkia remained. Kiram, however, was quite enthusiastic. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her. You can leave. Alright, just don't go too overboard. Kiram's face was full of smiles. No, I will. How dare you to put your hands on my owner? Hearing this, Delkia flinched. I know you're feigning unconsciousness, but it won't affect what I'm about to do next. I'll divide you up into exactly 1,000 pieces. Delkia, terrified out of her wits, pleaded continuously. Please, spare me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything everything I've tried to do. Her pleas gradually weakened as K-Ram began her hospitality. I slowly closed the door, thinking K-Ram is gonna beat her to pulp probably. The next second, I felt a familiar mana. I was taken aback when I saw it. It was the familiar dark mist energy fluctuating behind me, Fog Domain, and a strange voice suddenly spoke up. Your face looks really funny right now. I am Linza Nyloff. I am one of the managers of Lambaster. She slowly appeared in front of me, who is currently stunned and can't help but think the veiled Linza Nyloff was a part of Mist. It seems like Sirika hasn't told you about me, has she? Well, that explains why you went around killing the other managers. Thanks for your consideration. Now I don't have to go looking for you. My expression grew solemn. So, you're a senior of mine, but I guess you're more of a traitor, right? As I began to gather energy, Linza quickly interjected. Don't misunderstand. Your opponent isn't me. Several sneak attack throwing knives shot towards me, which I deflected one by one. There's a third? Linza's mouth curled up. Say hello. What is happening right now? A familiar figure leapt into view, and she said, you already know each other, right? Lisa also responded immediately. Yes, Master. Simon of Hermia. I will eliminate you now. Before her words finished, Lisa attacked instantly, not giving me any chance to explain. Get away, Lisa. Hey, this has nothing to do with you. But she ignored me and continued attacking. Then this leaves me no choice but to knock her out. Secret technique. Wave of murderous intent. Lisa's figure shot out rapidly, landing with undiminished combat spirit. Damn, I didn't expect her to be so thoroughly trained that my move was ineffective against her. To think that she withstood the wave of murderous intent. At this moment, Linza, hidden within the dark mist, couldn't help but taunt. If you want, you can kill her. Why'd you hesitate? How long do you plan to hide in the mist? Linza playfully said, I just want to see whether the disciple trained by Sirika is stronger or the one trained by me has the upper hand. Hearing this, I was momentarily distracted again. What exactly is the relationship between her and Sirika? Do you really think you should be paying attention to me right now? Meanwhile, Lisa's attack came again. Needle shower. I dodged hastily to her attacks, but Lisa precisely captured my landing point and dived down from above. Fortunately, I was able to block her attack. I may have broken ties with Gunther, but you still have to pay the price for taking away my only family, Sir Simon. Only then did I realize that her relationship with Gunther was not as distant as it appeared on the surface, but the change in her eyes, clearly due to the activation of a shadow personality, occupied her mind with memories of resentment, hence her relentless attacks. However, her rash decision to close the distance between us in combat was undoubtedly her biggest mistake. I countered instantly, stepping close and knocking her out with a single palm strike. For now, I succeeded in silencing her. With this, the barrier between Linza and me was finally cleared. Just the two of us left. Still not willing to come out? Linza's expression was calm as she slowly said, can't you see? This dark mist domain is my very being. I chuckled coldly, exposing her directly. Although I'm surprised you can use the dark mist power, I think you're more of a traitor, or should I say, a thief. Linza's expression changed slightly, and my next words shocked her even more. Did I hit the mark? That ring on your hand, the Andabari's ring, can store and use any magic and power, right? You've been using it to pretend you were a mist. I don't know how you get your hands on that, but aren't you a fake yourself? Nothing but a shameless fraud. Linza could no longer maintain her composure and retorted angrily, how dare you? Then let me show you the power of the dark god. I looked at her, thinking she had taken the bait. Authority of the god of black fog. She finally revealed her true form from within the dark mist, but just as she appeared, the burst of energy had already frozen everything around. My body was rigid, unable to move an inch. Linza's voice regained its composure. This is my domain. Only I can move freely here. This is true power. How do you like feeling powerless? This is real power. Time to say goodbye, poor little one. However, in what should have been a completely silent domain, suddenly a human voice sounded. I've finally found this place. Linza looked back, sweating profusely. Spatial tear. Kiram's figure gradually appeared. What's this? Are you after my master too? Linza was instantly dumbfounded. An invincible domain breached. Could she possess powers akin to the dark god? As she rifled through her mind, suddenly a name sprang up. Apart from air, there is only one person who could do this. However, Kiram did not wait for her to call out the name. Why is everyone constantly eyeing what's mine? How many pieces do you want to be? Amid Linza's horrified gaze, she lightly snapped her fingers. First, I'll shatter this insignificant dimension. The domain shattered like glass. Linza was not expecting this to happen. It can't be. It broke this easily, and I was freed once again. I couldn't help but complain. What took you so long? Your master was in danger. You know, Kiram responded disdainfully. You've been saved, so stop complaining endlessly. Seeing herself ignored, Linza could no longer contain her anger and shouted, shut up. You cannot possibly be the successor. It's been 300 years. A full 300 years. Even if a successor were to appear, it couldn't possibly be a child like you. Kiram looked puzzled. Why is she reacting so strongly? I added helplessly, probably because I've already annoyed her before. Linza, feeling overlooked again, was furious. You lousy brat. Don't you dare underestimate me, you fake heir. Linza yelled furiously, full of resentment, and charged with her blade. Kiram moved instantly, transforming into a weapon. Linza's attack was too predictable. She's a failure as an assassin. Fog blade, ranging storm. The same technique, but the weapons in our hands were drastically different. In a moment of crossing, Linza's short blade was knocked away away, and she fell to the ground. I sneered, still don't believe it? Then I'll show you the true power of the dark mist. Linza gathered herself from the fall, but looking up, she saw a scene that shocked her. Authority of the god of mist, adamant. Try blocking this with that superb ring of yours. Linza's pupils dilated, memories flooding back. When she grew tired of the endless wait and chose to leave the altar, Sirika did not stop her, merely expressing a hint of regret. Linza then looked back. Are you going to come to kill me? Sirika calmly responded, no, why would I when there are many worse people in this world who deserve to die more than you do? Don't worry about that. Sirika then turned serious. However, Linza, if one day you corrupt the faith, I will intervene to purify it as well. Remember that well, and by then, what you've stolen will be reclaimed too. No one else knows about that right now, so don't fret. Don't get corrupted, Linza. Linza's lips curled up. That was her last meeting with Sirika. Linza pledged to leave the mist, where those with power stayed hidden despite their strength, and create a new one where those with power would be acknowledged because she didn't want to stay hidden any longer waiting for the heir. Lambaster's prominence was built on her efforts, but how did it come to this? Dark elements ravage, obliterating powers sweep through everything. By the time Linza regained her senses, half of her body was shattered, beyond any hope of recovery. Any last words? Send my regards to Sirika. Hearing the emotionless query from the young man before her, Linza couldn't restrain herself any longer, and tears streamed down her face. Please, tell Sirika I was wrong. It's been a long and painful journey. End me now. Seeing Linza's regretful demeanor, a sense of melancholy arose within me. She had turned Lambaster into a playground that nobles couldn't stay away from, but in the chase for power, she lost herself, stripping the weak of their hopes for life, ultimately perishing in her own destruction. But no one can foresee their own downfall, not even me. After the battle in Lambaster, the domain slowly dissipates. Was the domain connected to the front of the hotel? Looks like I don't have to go through the hassle of going back. Lisa finally regained her senses. She whispered, why didn't you kill me? I struck first and even knew the secrets of the mist. There's no reason for you to let me live, is there? I responded indifferently. Would you go and report it? Lisa immediately answered no, so I added, then it's fine. Realizing I indeed had no intention of killing her, Lisa felt bewildered. She no longer needed to obey anyone, yet her path forward was more unclear than ever. Then what should I do now? Just then, the inn's door swung open, and a little girl, Lewis, crying, ran out. Manager, are you okay? You look hurt. I was so worried. I was scared that when I opened my eyes, I wouldn't see you again. Seeing the concern on Lewis's face, Lisa couldn't help but smile slightly. I'm more relieved that you seem entirely fine. Are you hurting anywhere? But the next moment, Lewis threw herself into her arms. Who cares? I'm never leaving you ever again. Tears streaming down Lewis's face, saying, you're the nicest person I've ever met. Don't you ever go somewhere else ever again. Lisa gently patted her back, softly comforting her. At that moment, however, I had already decided to leave. It seems you've already found the path ahead. Since this city no longer has a ruler, where we'll go from here is for you all to decide. Just don't let Lewis follow the same path you and Gunther once took. Yes, will do. Lisa nodded. After saying that, I turned to Lewis and reminded her, you need to listen to her, understand? Lewis nodded earnestly, her voice full of reluctance. Are you leaving? Yes, I'll be checking out now. Stay safe. Lisa couldn't help but ask, are you going to come back? Maybe once in a while? Maybe? No, you must come back. Take care on your journey. Hearing Lisa's call, a smile unconsciously appeared on my lips. The next time we meet, I hope I won't see the scene of this city falling apart. Returning alone to the mist's altar, Sirika generously praised my performance on this mission. But what I was more concerned about was her relationship with Linza. Was that woman a part of the mist as well? Sirika put away her smile and slowly began to talk about their shared training past. Yes, she was once a part of the mist. She was a colleague whom I trained alongside. Linza had a different view on the direction of the organization and left. She even stole the ring that was meant only for the leader. I took out the Andabari's ring. Is this the one? Yes, it was originally an accessory that should have gone in my hands. Sirika leapt down from the altar, but her attention was not on the ring. However, I want to give it to you. This puzzled me. Didn't you say that it was passed down to the leader? I'm fine without something like that. I'm now strong enough that I no longer need it. How strange. I thought the main objective of this mission was this ring. Kairam suddenly appeared, teasing. Maybe it's because this ring is tainted with the blood of her friend. Her relationship with Lisa must be quite deep. Sirika waved her hand indifferently. Think what you will. This ring was made a long time ago, and back then, the teachings were quite radical. It has brought pain to many people. I suddenly interrupted her. So, this is a test, right? You want to see if I'll be tainted by the power of this ring. Is this your way of warning me through this incident? That you're a purification target if you get corrupted. Do you really dislike me as the heir so much? It seemed that my insight had exposed her intentions, and Sirika spoke frankly. Isn't that only natural? I'm just curious to see whether you'll become a hero for humanity or a disaster in the end. Maybe Lady Kairam chose the wrong person. What did you just say? Kairam taunted. Well, I'll take that positively then. I simply answered. In the headmaster's office at the Royal Academy, Chancellor met with Boris, who had come for his reporting duties. Since the disappearance of instructor Nella, the anxiety of the students has reached its peak. Chancellor first gave Boris the usual reassurance and encouragement. It may be overwhelming since you're just newly appointed, but please take good care of it. Don't worry, Chancellor Kundal. I'll do my best to empathize with the students. I may be lacking, but I should strive to give my all. Boris's performance was polite and graceful. Thank you for your words. Boris then bowed. Then I'll be taking a look around the campus. As Boris turned his back, Chancellor thought to himself, Boris Ruhelm, what a bizarre mana he possesses. At that moment, Sirica suddenly barged in. I'm sorry for being late. Did you call for me, Chancellor? Boris remained calm and composed, his manners impeccable. Nice to meet you. I'm Boris Ruhelm. I'm the newly appointed instructor. I hope to be in your care going forward. But as they brushed past each other, Sirica's gaze suddenly jolted. This calm, smiling man made her feel as if she had emerged from a sea of corpses and blood. She can sense a thick stench of blood. She then concluded, that man, he's dangerous. After Boris left, the headmaster's expression was unusually serious. He says he came from the capital. His tone was urgent as he reminded, keep watch over him, Sirica. Though his skills seem excellent and his demeanor well-mannered, he gives off a strange mana. Yes, I'll keep that in mind, Chancellor. Then Sirica remained silent, her thoughts growing heavier. No matter how much Boris tried to conceal it, the strong smell of blood still lingered. If she had to describe it, it felt like as if death itself is walking around. Meanwhile, at the academy, Aaron and Rezimus couldn't help but feel a sense of unease as they noticed the increasing number of guards. After the bloody banquet, the Empire had become extremely paranoid. Suddenly, a clear voice called out, and the two turned to see Lunav, whom they hadn't seen in a long time. It's been a while, Princess Aaron. The three of them walked slowly through the academy, but the conversation never strayed far from the events of the bloody banquet. Lunav constantly expressed her gratitude to Aaron for her generosity at that time, while Aaron's expression seemed somewhat downcast. Don't say that. You were caught up because of me. She then turned to introduce the person beside her. By the way, this is my friend Rezimus. Say hello. Rezimus awkwardly greeted her, but she couldn't resist the charm of the cute yet mysterious girl in front of her. Nice to meet you. You're so pretty. As the three chatted and laughed, suddenly a figure blocked their way. Pleasure to meet you. I am the newly appointed instructor, Boris. If you may excuse me, are you Princess Aaron? Yes. I've heard the news. Instructor Boris. You're teaching mana application studies, right? It's an honor to hear that you know of it already. By the way, could you spare a moment? Lunav is just listening on the side. A moment? Yes. It's nothing much. I've been going around assessing the magic levels of the talented students. Could I possibly see your mana orb, Your Highness? This sounded like a reasonable request, and Aaron began to slowly gather a magic orb in her hand. Will this do? Boris's lips curl up. Yes, that should be enough. However, Lunav felt a sudden unease in her heart and quickly spoke up. Aaron, confused, turned around and said, but what's the harm in just assessing the magic level? Boris slowly reached toward the magic ball, his tone calm. Don't worry, it won't take long. At that moment, things took an unexpected turn. A figure suddenly leapt into the scene, forcefully interrupting Aaron's spellcasting. What are you doing? Boris was utterly stunned, his gaze fixed on the young man in front of him, his heart shaking. This young man, why is there such strong hostility in his eyes? Seeing Boris in front of me, I can't help but think to myself, why the hell are you here in Ruin of all places, Boris Ruhelm? And deep in my memory, a year after the surprise attack by the Demon King army, here it comes. Prepare yourselves. Protection spell. The beast immediately launched an attack but was blocked by the protection barrier. However, the next second, the barrier wasn't able to withstand the attack and was shattered, sending the knights flying. The knights don't have time to mourn for their comrade. Get into formation again. If we fall, they'll push and invade more. Someone's approaching from there. The other knight pointed. I immediately focused on annihilating the beast. Several slashes of my sword flashed through as I landed. Seeing me, the knights felt relief, exclaiming, he's finally here. He went to the western front, if I recall, but he really is as elusive as the rumors say. We won this battle, since young Master Cyan has arrived. All wounded retreat. I'll take care of things here. In the next second, I cast a spell, and in my hands, a black void sphere was forming. Deploy secret arts, void sphere. And just like that, the beast is annihilated. Wow, you really are amazing, Sir Cyan. No wonder Lord Ashel treasures you so much, Boris said while applauding. Seeing Boris, I immediately asked, weren't you at the Backlands with my brother? I've come here since the northern front needed support, but you've already handled it all, Sir Cyan. Perhaps it was the exhaustion of the long war, or perhaps it was because I was so lonely at the time, with no one to confide in. In the glow of the campfire, I had once spoken the truth to Boris. Soldiers live on the edge of life and death every day, yet the war seems endless. We, the House of Vert, led the elite knights on the front lines to place the Empire's power firmly into Emperor Luenel's hands a year ago, but the front lines have grown weaker since, and the monsters have begun their assault. The war simply will not end. This is all because of Emperor Luenel's greed. To sacrifice for such a battle is meaningless. If it weren't for my brother Ashel's orders, I wouldn't have stayed here. Boris kindly reminded me to watch my words, but he was in the same situation, so he didn't need to say much to empathize. When I asked him why he was on the front lines, Boris simply said that Luenel had recognized his talents, but in terms of personality, he felt he was more like Ashel. In the course of our conversation, faint elemental energy continued to gather in his hand. A delicate magic ball slowly began to take shape. As you can see, I can collect energy left on the battlefield like this, form them into mana spheres, then transform them into orbs, which can be stored. He bluntly said, "Forgive me for speaking plainly, but your magic is quite unique." This puzzled me. "Is there something wrong with that?" He then sneered, "You possess quite the splendid potential. Perhaps you are the one I've been looking for." Looking back now, perhaps it was then that the conspiracy against me began to brew, and his ability to store magic power was certainly not as simple as he claimed. Therefore, in this lifetime, I would never make the same mistake again. I cannot let this bastard get a hold of any mana under no circumstances. Seeing my current reaction, Boris seemed very shocked. "So this is Cyan Vert," but he quickly adjusted his emotions. "This is just a simple test. There's no need to react so strongly." I stood my ground. "I've never heard of such a procedure being allowed, instructor." Boris immediately softened his tone. "Don't worry. If you feel pressured, we can skip this part. If I made you uncomfortable, I apologize." Without hesitation, I said, "Yes, apology accepted. Please leave quickly before it gets any more uncomfortable." At this moment, Aaron blushed from my protection and shyly said, "I accept your apology." Boris felt very awkward but couldn't say anything further. After hastily bowing, "Yes, will do. Then I will take my leave." Boris turned and left. He had no idea why I harbored such intense hostility toward him. Lunov was also thinking about Boris. Was there a mage with that name? Once he left, Rezimus bluntly said, "Your behavior just now was too rude. Why don't you let go of the princess's hand?" I immediately let go. "My apologies, Your Highness." Aaron hurriedly said, "It's fine, Cyan. I believe you're only trying to help me. After all, you're mine." The moment the words left her mouth, she realized something was wrong. Those words sounded too intimate. In the blink of an eye, Aaron's face turned red again, and she quickly grabbed Rezimus and hurried off. Lunov slowly asked at this point, "That instructor called Boris. Do you know him?" "A little." "Why do you ask?" As soon as I said it, I realized that my hostility toward Boris had indeed been a bit excessive. No wonder Lunov was suspicious. "You're amazing, senior. It's my first time hearing about him. Don't try to understand anything about him. Getting close to him will bring you no good. I'm leaving as well." Seeing my back as I turned to leave, Lunov's curiosity only deepened. He's been agitated since earlier. Is he hiding something? After returning to the dormitory, countless candies poured out from the Andabari's ring. Nana's little head was completely overtaken by food, shouting incoherently. It seemed that during my absence, they had taken good care of themselves. "Don't mention it. Good work to you as well." But Emily looked a bit downcast. "Brian won't even let me touch the food in the kitchen. Isn't that a good thing? I thought you liked it when others cook for you." Emily complained, "But it feels like my job is being taken away." I chuckled and said with a playful tone, "Is that so? Brian, it's time for training." Hearing this, Brian felt his energy was already drained. "Now, sir, this late?" "Yes, now, take off your apron." I didn't explain further and directly brought him to the training ground. We suddenly stopped as we noticed the training ground. There, someone was already moving. It was Rezimus. "Wow, she's easily swinging around a claymore as big as her," Brian complimented. "You're right, that's pretty amazing." Then my lips curled up. She was just as diligent and hardworking as in my past life. No wonder she later rose to the title of the strongest sword saint in the future. Seeing this scene, I felt a surge of battle intent. "How about I take a look at your skills since it's been a while?" Rezimus then noticed my presence. "Young Master Cyan?" Then she was puzzled. "What do you mean by a while? Forget it and come at me." It was time to test her training results. Rezimus stopped her movements. "But I'm holding a real sword, while you're using a wooden one. Shouldn't I switch to a wooden sword too?" Before she could finish, I launched my attack. Her reaction speed was quite impressive, and she quickly blocked my weapon. "You have good reflexes as I thought." The sensation and weight from the sword made her immediately abandon her initial underestimation. "Is that really a wooden sword? Why is it so heavy?" She swept her long blade and pushed me back, her eyes also burning with battle intent. "In that case, I won't go easy on you." It had already put immense pressure on her, but I could clearly feel her reaction speed increasing. I teased, "Try a bit harder. Is this all you've got? If you want to beat me, you need to be prepared to kill me." However, after the provocation, I immediately shifted from offense to defense. My continuous evasions only made her more frustrated. Although she was the one on the offensive, her sword couldn't even touch the edge of my clothes. Thinking this, Rezimus decided to take a gamble. However, just as she abandoned her stance, I quickly closed the distance and used the hilt of my sword to interrupt her movement. "Okay, that's enough. The outcome is already decided. Losing control of your emotions in battle will only expose your weaknesses. You should be careful about that in the future." Rezimus's expression was somber. "I'm no match for you. It must be nice to be so strong." Although crushing this former rival from my past life gave me a strange sense of amusement, I didn't want to leave a shadow of defeat in her heart. "Don't be so discouraged. Physical fitness is the foundation of combat. You need to have more confidence in your swordsmanship. Many adults can't even wield a longsword as freely as you do. I believe that if you keep improving, you will eventually become the strongest." My encouragement made Rezimus somewhat doubtful of the sincerity of my words. "What the heck? Don't mess with me." I knew that she had an unusually strong intuition for swordsmanship, but she probably didn't know it yet. In fact, there was nothing more I could teach her. "Brian, from now on, you'll train with her." Brian, hearing this, pointed to himself. "What? Me?" I confirm. "Yes, you. I'll leave it to you, Rezimus." "Okay, then I'll change to a training sword." Brian eagerly took the longsword. "Where are you headed to, young master?" "I have some place to be." Brian then greeted Rezimus. "I'm looking forward to training with you. But Rezimus was filled with an inexplicable battle spirit. I hope we get along, Sir Brian. What an intimidating aura. Brian felt that life ahead seemed a little darker. At this moment, another familiar presence caught my attention, Lunavrain River. What was she doing here so late? Following the direction of her gaze, I saw it was Boris's research laboratory. Are you planning to go in? Lunav only then noticed my approach. You're asking me if I want to go in there? How did you know? I was only looking. You're really thinking about it. Why? Lunav continued. I'm just very curious. No one has ever heard of Boris. Not even the association has any information on him. It's strange that he has no records, despite being an 8-star grade mage. She did indeed have that plan. Really asking for trouble. How about it? Are you going to help me as well, senior? I asked in return. Why do you think I would do such a thing? Well, it's because during the day, your eyes were filled with hatred toward him. I thought you knew him already. I sighed, feeling like trouble had found me. Under the cover of night, Boris finally left the laboratory. Lunav and I arrived at the research room's porch. It seemed that Boris was indeed not there, and I couldn't sense any of his presence nearby. After undoing the magical seal on the door, a room filled with piles of books appeared before us. So many books. This was Lunav's strong suit, so she looked especially excited, and many of them are ancient documents. I'd say he's definitely a bookworm. I replied with little enthusiasm. Maybe he just has a collecting obsession. Who knows? Lunav skimmed through some of the books. Most of them are about ancient magic. At that moment, Kairam suddenly slipped out of my body. Where are you going, Kairam? She just left behind a sentence. To the roof for a bit. Don't worry and focus on what you're doing. Then, she disappeared. How strange. It's rare to see Kairam leave voluntarily. However, Lunav's exclamation interrupted my thoughts. I immediately looked back at her. In front of her was an unassuming ancient book, but I was extremely familiar with it. It was Boris's weapon, Hiskria. Meanwhile, on the roof, Kairam's expression was grim as she coldly said, "This smell. It's enough to make anyone sick no matter how long it lingers. Enough wasting time and come out already, Hiskria." A faint glow of wings fluttered in the air, and a graceful yet refined voice followed. "Long time no see, Kairam. How is it? The feeling of waking up after 300 years? Kairam's veins were bulging. Yeah, such a wonderful 300 years, until your appearance just ruined everything. With that, Kairam was already preparing to strike. Hiskria, however, said calmly, "Your personality really hasn't changed. I guess that's why you chose this person as your master. But calm down." Hiskria slowly landed. "I didn't come here to fight you. So, what do you want? Are you saying we should talk instead?" Hiskria's response was leisurely. "That's correct." Kairam snorted, non-committal. "What the hell are you plotting this time?" Meanwhile, in the research room, Lunav had already started to carefully flip through Hiskria. It's my first time seeing a magic tome of this kind. It's as if it's narrating history. Decoding it feels more like studying history, but these ancient characters seem to be encrypted, so it will take a long time to decipher them. The only thing I can make sense of is this picture. It looks like it was just starting to get drawn. What could it mean? The sun in a black cloud? Or is it a black fog? But in the next moment, I shut the book with a snap. This book must be destroyed immediately. Lunav was full of suspicion. What? Why would you? My eyes sharpened. Everything happened because of this. The bloody banquet and all the other horrible events. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. "I'm sorry, but I can't just watch it get destroyed." It was Boris. Damn it. I had been so focused earlier that I didn't even notice his presence. A beam of light shot out from the book, and in the next moment, Hiskria was in Boris's hands. He smiled. "Just when I was thinking of requesting a private meeting with you. It's an honor to greet you like this, Sir Cyan, but it feels quite unpleasant to be spied on." I frowned, but Boris's gaze became even more piercing. "Now, could you please give us some private space, Miss Lunav?" As he spoke, a spatial fluctuation instantly enveloped Lunav. In the blink of an eye, Lunav disappeared. That may have seemed a bit violent, but don't worry. I safely sent her back to the dorms. Boris's expression remained calm. "Now then, how about we have a quiet conversation? I happen to be very interested in you, Sir Cyan. Not only formally, but personally as well. Everything happened so quickly, and I was momentarily stunned, but deep down I wanted to kill him immediately to prevent any future trouble. But the existence of Hiskria bothers me. To think this would happen while Kairam is gone. Meanwhile, Kairam and Hiskria are talking. What the hell are you even saying? Explain better so I can understand. The person I serve as my master is someone chosen by God. So, you have no choice but to lose." Hiskria explained with enthusiasm. "So what? Are you telling a demon blade to side with Lumendal and betray my master or something?" The conversation immediately fell into a deadlock, but Hiskria threw out another option. "Is there a need for you to do that? You have plenty of other options. For example," Hiskria paused for a moment, then continues, "if you take over your master's body, won't it be hard for us to defeat you?" Kairam sneered. "What the hell are you thinking this time? Good and evil, light and darkness, creation and destruction. Two concepts that cannot coexist have been endlessly clashing in this world. But like most stories, the final outcome is always light prevailing. For the past 3 centuries after the end of the war between gods and demons, the land has been more prosperous than ever. However, the world has been slowly forgetting us. Gone are the awe and reverence on the past. After a long consideration, we came to a conclusion. We need darkness, for darkness will make us shine even more." Kairam found this reasoning utterly ridiculous. Such a foolish reason. "If I take over my master's body and then lose control and go insane, You'll show up to defeat me and perform your savior act, right? Hiskria openly responded, yes, that's correct. As I thought, you are someone reasonable to talk to. However, before Hiskria could even finish speaking, Kiram suddenly launched an attack without warning. Cut the bullshit. Hiskria didn't dodge the attack and quickly recovered, but his tone was filled with regret. My, what a shame. Weren't the demon blades fated to take control of their owners originally? What caused this change of heart? You're the one that deemed us evil. You solve your own problems. Don't think about relying on others. It's unfortunate that you think of us like that. I thought you would be reasonable as heir. Anyway, it was nice meeting you, Lady Kiram. Then, farewell. With a flash of light, Hiskria's figure disappeared. Kiram's expression, however, grew even darker. What the hell did you do, heir, you dumb god? Meanwhile, I was sitting face to face with Boris. This is some high-grade tea I acquired from Spania. I hope this suits your palate, Boris said politely. I wasn't in the mood for small talk, so I went straight to the point. You said you're interested in me? Boris laughed heartily. Isn't it natural for an instructor to have an interest in a talented student? But I barely attend lectures. Though, Boris countered. Why do you not attend lectures? Because I don't particularly have anything to learn there. Does the Chancellor or the Duke know about this? I found these questions too tedious, so I coldly replied. Just get to the point. Boris stopped smiling, and his expression became serious. All right then, I'll be direct. Have we met before? This took me by surprise. Why do you think so? Boris continued. Although it may be impolite, I feel like you've hated me from the very beginning, especially from the way you look at me. It was enough to feel murderous intent. It's my first time seeing you, but I'm rather curious if you happen to know me. I replied calmly, as you said. In fact, it's even more suspicious that I've never even heard of you. A mage with an 8-star grade mana should have been famous long since. Boris smiled faintly. I prefer quiet places, you see. Where are you from? I questioned him seriously. It's quite a rural area, so you wouldn't know even if I told you. He's lying. In my past life, Boris always concealed his identity and origins, and until the very last moment, I couldn't find the answer. He's probably worried about letting anybody know about that part of him. Is there anything else you're curious to know about me? I asked, but Boris just smiled. It's quite late now, so let's get to know each other more later. After Boris saw me off, his expression suddenly turned cold, and he muttered to himself. His vigilance is too strong. I can't get any clues from him, but I finally understand why even Lord Ashel considers him a threat. The mysterious person who helped Princess Erin. It must be him. He spoke slowly, his tone mixed with complex emotions. Truly, what a tragedy. To think that the sibling of the savior who received the blessing of the God of Light would be a master of the demon blade. At this moment, Hiskria's figure quietly appeared. I think this is what they call fate. Boris gently stroked the pages of the book, feeling its texture, and whispered with a laugh. Fate, you say? It's certainly an interesting expression, Lord Hiskria, and it's the demon blade Kiram of all things. Perhaps he might be the darkness that we've been searching for. But if your predictions are right, that boy will certainly make Lord Ashel's light shine even brighter, just like this black fog that covered the sun as it was prophesied. The second coming of the savior will be bound to happen soon. At this moment, Kiram arrived alone at the Shadow Mist altar. Air sat coldly on his throne and said, how strange, the rebellious little daughter actually came to visit. What brings you here, Kiram? Are you asking because you don't know? I just met Hiskria on my way here. He's close enough for me to knock his ass off. You know? Air didn't respond directly, instead asking, has that child troubled you in some way? I knew you'd know. Aren't you going to do something about it? Did you forget that they were the ones that banished you from the divine realm? Air's tone turned heavy. I've already hit the lowest point in any case, so there's nothing more to fear. You sure talk big. Those bastards are trying to use me in Cyan. Is that your wish? Air questioned, which made Kiram puzzled. What do you mean by wish? To protect Cyan, Air added. I shall grant your wish. He handed over a decree. Take this order. All of the mist will help the two of you. Kiram took it, sneering as she asked, so you're not going to do anything yourself? What exactly happened with you and Lomondal? Air's expression became complicated. Let's just say that everything was done for the sake of you all. However, these words did not move Kiram. She coldly responded, enough with the far-fetched excuses. Just continue deflating here. You coward. Air was left speechless, inwardly sighing. So mean. Meanwhile, inside the Temple of Light, Ellis's night coronation ceremony was taking place. The priest was offering blessings with a pious expression. Do you wish to become the sword of the God of Light, to save this world from the cruel darkness? Do you wish to stand on the front lines, unafraid of bloodshed and sacrifice? Ellis answered seriously. I, Ellis Verd, swear to accept the will of the God of Light, Lomondal. However, during the recitation of the oath, Ellis Rare felt a moment of self-doubt. Is the path I'm on truly the right one? Recently, the Empire has been recruiting talented people to the Knights of Light and sending them to the front lines. Because of that, the Imperial Army was completely helpless in dealing with the incidents like the Bloody Banquet. Joining the Knights of Light had always been Ellis's long-held desire, yet her heart was unsettled. If I can only fight on the front lines, powerless to protect my home from invasion, is this what I swore to protect? As her thoughts swirled, congratulatory voices rang out from behind her. Congratulations, Ellis. She immediately turned around in surprise. Cecilia, you've finally achieved your dream, milady, Cecilia added. Ellis then paused and said, come to think of it, I should start calling you Dame Cecilia. After all, I'm just a novice knight now. Ellis's awkwardness made Cecilia feel embarrassed impressed as well. She quickly said, "Don't be like that, Ellis. It's just the two of us here. Let's keep things normal, like usual." However, these words made Ellis even more flustered. But how could I ever show that kind of disrespect towards my senior? The two talked for a while. Then Cecilia sighed in relief and said, "So, you were concerned about that. There's nothing wrong in the path that you took to come here, Lady Elise. I know since I've been watching you for a very long time." Ellis sighed, "But I still feel a bit lost. Those screams for help during the battles, they still echo in my ears." Cecilia said seriously, "There's only one way to know whether you're suited for the front lines or not." "A way?" Ellis asked, puzzled. "Let's go to the front lines together. If that's where you truly belong, you'll find your purpose there. Duke Wyliers, the Supreme Commander of the Knights of Light, has given a task to me and you, Lady Elise. I hereby officially deliver to you your first task. Heed the call. Elise Vert, a mission personally issued by my father to prepare for this day. I have made ample preparations. Brian has long been ordered and is ready to move." Emily asked, "So where's he going all of a sudden?" Emily and Nana have never seen me so serious, and they couldn't help but worry. "Will we not see each other for a long time?" Nana asked softly. Brian looked at her and could only answer helplessly, "I'm just following orders. I actually know nothing about the upcoming actions." Fully armed, I walked out of the room. "No, it won't take long this time. Don't worry." "Nana, are you done preparing?" Brian, "Yes, young master, but where exactly are we going?" The Andabari's ring in my hand began to glow. "Lemia Valley," I answered. Upon hearing the name, Emily immediately frowned. She was reminded of the night of the monster raid. "The place you went before? Isn't that really far away?" I interrupted her. "This little item will save us a lot of time. Hurry up and follow me." "Brian, time is still tight because today is the day Ellis was attacked and died in my past life, and it marked the beginning of my emotional closure. But this time, I will not allow this to happen again." Meanwhile, in Lemia Valley, Ellis was welcomed into the military camp by her father's personal guard. "Jerkin, we've arrived. I'm sure it must have been quite bothersome coming here. We are graced by your presence." "Milady." "What do you mean by milady?" "Sir Jerkin, the journey must have been tough. I am so proud to see you finally join the Order of the Light Knights." Ellis paused for a moment, a little flustered, and said, "Please don't flatter me too much, Sir Jerkin. Compared to you, a veteran warrior, I still have much to learn." Jerkin's voice was full of affirmation. "If it's you, milady, you'll do just fine. My lord would certainly be proud of you as well." Ellis insisted, "I told you to stop calling me that." Seeing Ellis's firm attitude, Jerkin couldn't help but laugh heartily. "Ha ha, the Duke is waiting for you." Ellis finally saw the figure she had always admired. She stood up straight and said solemnly, "The eldest daughter of the House of Vert, Ellis Vert, reporting for duty." Father immediately brushed past the greeting, coldly saying, "The third and fourth princes and the second princess are arriving at the camp today. Prepare to greet them." Ellis could only hurriedly comply. She had many things she wanted to say to her father, but all she received was his usual cold demeanor, as if they were not family. Soon, the royal carriage arrived. "They've arrived," Father informed Ellis. "His Highnesses and Her Highness have arrived," the knight announces. As the third and fourth princes got out, they immediately covered their noses, their faces full of disgust. "Damn, this place smells awful. How can they live in such a disgusting place?" Meanwhile, the second princess appeared polite and graceful. "Violet Sevelis, also known as Princess Violet, on behalf of the royal family, I thank you for your hard work in defending the front lines." Although the princess's tone was warm and kind, Duke Wyliers still diligently observed the formalities of a subordinate. However, the responses of the two princes sounded harsh. "Let's hurry up and finish this. It's just a formality anyway. By the way, monsters won't attack us, right?" The Duke respectfully replied, "This is the rear of the military camp. There will only be a few stray weak monsters. Moreover, the strongest knight of our house will be joining you, so there will be no need to worry." During the conversation, a familiar voice suddenly interrupted. "It's been a while, Father." With those words, Echelle's figure stepped out from the royal carriage. Ellis wasn't expecting Echelle to be there. A satisfied expression finally appeared on Duke Wyliers' face. "Very well. I believe that with this task entrusted to you, there's no problem at all." "Yes, I won't disappoint you, Father," Echelle respectfully replied, but this warmth was quickly interrupted by the third prince. "All right, then just focus on carrying out your duties as a guard. But remember, our lives are far more important than your nobility." Echelle still respectfully agreed, without offering any rebuttal. Only Princess Violet maintained her politeness and thanked Echelle. "I hope to be in your care, Sir Echelle Vert. It's my honor to serve you." Just then, Princess Violet couldn't help but ask the question in her mind. "Why isn't Big Brother Lionel here with you? Despite following you everywhere, he doesn't seem like the type to miss such a formal occasion." Echelle calmly answered, "Prince Lionel had some urgent matters to attend to, so he entrusted me to carry out his duties." Princess Violet felt a slight unease rise in her heart, but still politely offered a few words of praise. "Is that so? It truly does feel reliable to be escorted by you, Sir Echelle." As the carriage moved on, Ellis couldn't help but stare at Echelle's tall figure, lost in thought. My brother has always been inseparable from Prince Lionel, but now he suddenly comes to protect the twin princes and princess. Is this just a coincidence? Echelle seemed to sense her gaze and spoke up. "I heard you received the highest reward for your promotion tonight. Congratulations, Ellis." However, his tone, devoid of any emotion, and the compliment somehow made Ellis feel a chill. In that instant, instant, Echelle's familiar yet fleeting gaze pulled her back to memories from her childhood. On one afternoon of her 9th birthday, Echelle came to greet her a happy birthday and had gifted her a magical scroll and told her to open it only when her magic level reached 4 stars, as it contained a carefully prepared surprise. Ellis almost forgot about the gift until one day when she finally reached 4 stars. Is it a summoning scroll? She was about to open the scroll when someone grabbed her hand. Cecilia, passing by, hurriedly stopped her. This is an intermediate demonic beast summoning scroll. It could have turned out really dangerous, Lady Ellis. At that moment, Ellis realized that death had just brushed past her. But was it a coincidence, or had someone planned it? In order to maintain harmony among her family, Ellis never spoke of the incident, but the suspicion lingered in her mind. Did he give it to me knowing all that? Why did you do something like that? Big brother Echelle. The carriage continues to move. Inside the carriage, the 4th prince openly expressed his displeasure. I can't believe Big Brother Lionel actually sent Echelle to us. The 3rd prince pondered for a long while and said, this is indeed suspicious. Is he secretly plotting something? It's always wise to keep our distance from him. Princess Violette suddenly interrupted the two. As Lionel's full-blooded sister, she was unusually cautious towards her own brother at this moment. Assigning a skilled person like Echelle to us, isn't that a reasonable suspicion? You all know what kind of person Big Brother Lionel is. If you don't want to die, stay alert. Suddenly, the carriage shook violently, and Ellis's anxious voice came from behind. We're under ambush. You must evacuate immediately. And ahead of the convoy, a giant earth dragon was rampaging, roaring to the sky. The twin panic. What? We're being attacked by the elite demonic beast. Interac. An earth dragon? Damn. He said that there wouldn't be any elite demonic beasts. A strong sense of unease immediately rose in their hearts. The earth dragon was inherently violent, with tough skin and thick flesh. A single charge shattered the defensive line into pieces. Seeing this, everyone was immediately at a loss. Dragon tail sweep. The target was the carriage frame. Ellis gritted her teeth and raised her sword to block. The royal family members sitting behind her could not be harmed, but this was clearly the rear of the battlefield. Why would such a magical beast appear here? Before she could think further, the 4th prince, Nerobian, was already panicking and trying to flee. Idiot! Don't run around. Fabian's shout had no effect at this moment. Even Violet looked around in confusion, her heart filled with doubt. Here, who can I rely on? Has the Vert family completely sided with Lionel? At this moment, Echelle's swiftly approaching figure only made her more nervous. I will protect you. Please stand behind me, Echelle said calmly. Ellis noticed this. However, Violet only felt more uneasy. Is this their next plan? Does he want to kill me in the chaos? She was still hesitating when suddenly, a sharply shooting wind blade allowed Ellis to free up her hands. Wind Blossom. It was Cecilia. Seeing who it was, Ellis was overjoyed. Lady Elise, hurry and come this way. Without a word, Ellis grabbed the princess's hand. Pardon my insolence, Princess Violette. Sorry. Where are you taking me? Wherever it is. We need to leave here first. But Ellis's unease grew even stronger. Just now, in Echelle's eyes, she had clearly seen the desire to kill Princess Violette. At that moment, when Ellis looked back, she was shocked. Echelle's figure finally caught the Earth Dragon's attention. The Earth Dragon roared, shaking the valley. It swung its claws and struck down violently. However, a divine light suddenly radiated from Echelle's body. A magical circle effortlessly blocked the blow, and the Earth Dragon's massive form was even knocked into the air by the rebound. Lady Ellis, now's the time. Ellis snapped out of her shock and inwardly sighed. Just what was that? The three of them began to retreat again. At this moment, Echelle coldly watched their retreating figures, the cheers of the crowd and the Earth Dragon's angry roars feeling like annoying flies to him, making him feel disgusted. The Earth Dragon opened its massive mouth, gathering a searing breath of dragon fire. Echelle muttered under his breath, what a disgusting bastard. Just as the dragon fire was about to hit the knight's group, Echelle leapt high into the air, his sword glowing with a dazzling golden light as he charged to meet it. A deafening boom sounded, and Echelle landed firmly. The dragon fire that had seemed to change the very sky now gone without a trace. Lord Echelle actually took that blow head on. Assist Lord Echelle. The knights' morale instantly soared, their spirits lifted. However, as Violet watched this from the retreating path, her expression suddenly changed. She realized that she had greatly underestimated Echelle's strength. His actions just now clearly told her that Echelle was far more powerful than she had imagined. This made her even more worried about what would happen next. After Echelle deals with the Earth Dragon, will he move on to deal with me as well? At this thought, Violet suddenly lost the courage to escape and collapsed to the ground. Your Highness. Ellis hurried over to check, but saw Violet softly muttering, No, I won't fall so easily. Pardon? Are you hurt anywhere, Your Highness? When Violet raised her head again, Ellis was shocked to see that Violet's eyes were now filled with a mad, bloodthirsty gleam. I won't be killed so easily. In the next instant, a sharp blade pierced Ellis's abdomen. She turned around in disbelief, looking at Cecilia, her childhood companion, maid, and instructor. At this moment, Cecilia's gaze toward her was cold and indifferent. Ellis falls to the ground. Violet's voice then rang out, Ellis Vert, since I already know you are Echelle's sister, how could I die by your hand? I had my doubts when Big Brother Lionel, the ever-so-present meddler, was sneakily not present for this visit. He must have tried to eliminate us using this chaos by ordering someone else without dirtying his hands. So, this is just self-defense. Ellis struggled to explain. You must be mistaken. I just wanted to protect. Shut up. Violet's eyes were full of cold cruelty. Do you think I don't know about the ambitions of the Vert family and Lionel? Do you think I would be stupid enough to wait for you to kill me? With her rear threat now dealt with, Violet regained her calm demeanor. If you have any last words, you can speak to the magical beasts here. Who knows, maybe your beloved Lumendel will come to save you. With her loud laugh, she tore the scroll in her hand, and a teleportation magic circle appeared beneath her and Cecilia. The next moment, the two vanished. Ellis painfully rose to her feet, the intense pain from her wound unable to suppress the scream in her heart. Cecilia would never betray me. She must have been cursed and controlled. But as she spoke, Ellis couldn't hold back her tears. There's no way she left and abandoned me like this. These sorrowful thoughts, like invisible threads, tightly wound around her, and the heavy emotions almost suffocated her. The pain in her chest made her sword feel unusually heavy, and the beasts surrounding her were already closing in, growling. Weak from blood loss and exhaustion, she struggled to stand, gritting her teeth and saying, I can't die here. I have to survive. I have to find Cecilia and ask her myself why she had to betray me. Complex incantations slowly left her lips, but the water elementals, usually obedient, now fidgeted like misbehaving children. Her call went unanswered, and instead, the blood from her wound kept flowing. Undine, spear. The blood arrows shot out, pushing back some of the beasts, but more and more seemed to pour in like an endless tide. Meanwhile, Violet and Cecilia, having teleported to safety, arrived at the safe house. Violet collapsed onto the bed, letting out a long sigh. Even the air was horrid in that place, wasn't it? Cecilia responded flatly, yes, that's right, Your Highness. But the images of her childhood with Ellis lingered in her mind. But why did you leave her alive? Violet's question pulled Cecilia's thoughts back to reality. You could have ended her life right then. Didn't I definitely order you to kill her? Cecilia lowered her head and turned away. She won't last much longer. The demonic beasts of that area will take care of the deed. At this moment, Ellis had finally managed to repel the first wave of beasts. She flopped to the ground. Finally, it's over. I have to return now. She forced a bitter smile and murmured to herself, but should I go back to the camp now? If I tell them the princess wanted to kill me, no one would believe me, right? Despite the confusion and pain in her heart, Ellis quickly regained her composure and, facing the situation before her, decided to focus on surviving first. Just then, a stronger presence came from behind her. High-level demonic beast, salamander. In panic, Ellis murmured to herself, think of a way to survive. This is a hybrid descendant of the earth dragon, but what's more terrifying than its individual strength is its swarm tactics. The hope that had just ignited in Ellis's heart was instantly drowned in despair again. Am I really going to die here? Do something, Ellis. However, although her will to survive still struggled, it could not make up for the gap in strength. The fire within the salamander open mouth rolled, and the scorching heat rushed toward her, the burning stench seeming to be right at her nose. Ellis's eyes filled with tears as she whispered softly, forget it, it's enough. Just as she was preparing to calmly face death, fog blade, raging fog storm. The flame in the salamander's mouth was suddenly shattered by a series of slashes. The magma exploded like fireworks, the sounds of explosions echoing one after another. Ellis stared in shock at the active figure in the sky, the person from the bloody banquet. Before she could react, another salamander molten attack erupted again, sending high-temperature magma flying in all directions. My apologies, milady. Before the words were finished, Ellis felt a pair of large hands lift her up, swiftly maneuvering between the gaps in the magma. Hot, 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 Brian repeatedly exclaimed. Sir Brian, the Guardian Knight. Then that means, could the person who came with him be? Ellis's thoughts raced, but the salamander's attacks showed no signs of stopping. Feeling the brutal, scorching heat behind them, Brian pushed her toward a gap in the broken wall. The searing magma shot down from above, narrowly missing them. Please hang on a little longer, milady, Brian whispered comfortingly. It's going to overflow soon, Ellis shouted. Suddenly, a pitch-black blade stabbed in front of them, accompanied by an ominous presence. Whoa, Lady Kiram, Brian exclaimed. In the next moment, the magma attack came again, and Kiram's true form appeared. Bastard, throwing me around like this. Are these disgusting creatures get a bad case of acid reflux or something? Why the hell are you vomiting so much? How revolting, she cursed as she raised a protective shield. Seeing this, Brian finally felt a heavy weight lift off his chest. You're the best, Lady Kiram. Damn it, if this saliva touches me, you're dead. Hurry up and finish them, Cyan, Kiram complained. Hearing my name, Ellis was shocked, unable to utter a word. At this moment, I had already leaped above the salamander's swarm, with no need to hold back. Void Sphere. This is a full-powered strike infused with magical energy, causing even the scorching air to tremble slightly. Although the salamander has high physical defense, their massive size doesn't require aiming. With a light strike of both palms, the silent annihilation blasts flew wildly, exploding one after another. The bodies of these high-tier magical beasts instantly shattered, and the molten lava flowed like blood, rampaging everywhere. Moments later, the entire valley's terrain had been completely transformed. At this point, Ellis, supported by Brian, slowly walked out from the ruined battlefield. She had a question in her heart that urgently needed verification. With each step forward, she reached out and removed the mask of the person before her. That familiar face appeared before her eyes, and Ellis's tears instantly streamed sitting down. I'm so glad I wasn't too late, big sis. But I'm also sorry to meet you at such a terrible time. My dear older sister.